So, New York Cabaret and Calypso, both idioms come from a small geographic locale and share the same time frame. For our purposes, it's roughly the 30s, more 30s and 40s. Calypso was more grassroots, but the same audience actually patronized both. And I just thought of this during research. New York Cabaret was about fashionable people who enjoyed superior songs, some well known and some obscure, sung nocturnally in very small rooms until, as Whitney Balliet wrote in American Singers, song, singer, listener, and room became one. And these same fashionable people migrated like birds to spend the winter season in the Caribbean. And then they listened to Calypso. Both have links with jazz, New York Cabaret more explicitly because of the shared pool of musicians and clubs in New York City, in Harlem, Greenwich Village, Broadway, 52nd Street. New York Cabaret isn't quite jazz. The song is the thing. All my selections tonight come from a single source, a 6 LP set from 1987, New York Cabaret Music, subtitled The Erteguns, New York. The recordings, most produced by either Amit or Nishuhi Ertegun, were made between 1949 and 1983. The Ertegun brothers were sons of a Turkish ambassador to the USA and grew up in Washington, but they had the wherewithal to regularly visit New York City. Amit Ertegun and Herb Abramson founded Atlantic Records in 1947, which started small, literally. The vibe of a small room could easily be transferred to a small studio. Atlantic recorded jazz as a logical development, and in the 60s became synonymous with soul and R&B. Later that decade, they diversified into rock with Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones. So the music was no longer small. Glamour, sophistication, and romance had taken on a new disguise. Let's start with Mae Barnes, who is probably uncharacteristically boisterous. Mae gets a whole side to herself on New York Cabaret Music. To quote from a line of chat on the YouTube site where I sourced the tracks, a guy at Boston Tower Records in like 1990 told me that this album was created in part to showcase Mae Barnes. There were not enough songs of hers for a full album. Mae Barnes is the undoubted discovery of the box set. I Ain't Got Nobody gives you the sense.
Romeo had Juliet, Louis the 16th had Antoinette, but I ain't got nobody, and nobody's got me. Peleus had Melisande, Isabella had Ferdinand, but I ain't got nobody, and nobody's got me. Broadway has the 7-year itch, Minneapolis has St. Paul, Abercrombie has its Fitch, and here I am sighing and sitting and and crying with no one at all. Hans had Gretel by his side. Dr. Jekyll had Mr. Hyde. But I ain't got nobody, and nobody's got me. Frederick Chopin had George Sand, Alexander his ragtime band. But I ain't got nobody, and nobody's got me. Fanny Bryce, she had her man. Mr. Ludd, he's got Miss Lynn Fontaine. But I ain't got nobody, and nobody's got me. Every chowder has a clam, each front a derriere. Mary had her little lamb, and here I am moping and sitting and hoping with no one to care. Gobs have sweethearts on the wharves. Even Snow White had 7 dwarfs. But I ain't got nobody, and nobody's got me.
Born in New York City in either 1892 or 1907, depending upon which source you read, a tap dancer in all black revues, including U.B. Blake and Noble Sisley's Shuffle Along, May Barnes is credited with introducing the Charleston to Broadway in 1924. She switched to singing when a car crash brought an end to the dancing. The Duke and Duchess of Windsor were great fans. That's a telling detail. She enjoyed a 7-year residency at the Boite, B-O-I-T-E, in Greenwich Village, and sang in clubs in Hollywood, Honolulu, and London, where in 1950 she took the lead in a Jack Hilton revue, Night of Madness. Atlantic issued an EP in 1953 and a 10-inch LP, Fun with May Barnes, the following year. The 10 tracks of Fun comprise side 1 of New York Cabaret Music. She is accompanied by pianist Garland Wilson and the vocal group of Three Flames, Tiger Haynes, Roy Testemark and Avril Pollard, her regular accompanists at the Bonsoir Club on 8th Street. The rapport is evident on Old Man Mose. If this is Old Man Mose, hang on.
Once there lived an old man, had a very crooked nose. He lived in a log hut, they called him Old Man Mose. Early one morning I came on my door. Didn't see a single soul, ain't gonna do that no more. I believe, old man, I believe, old man, I believe, old man Mose is dead, I'm telling you I believe, I do believe, I believe, old man Mose is dead, yes. Mose kicked the bucket, Mose kicked the bucket, Mose kicked the bucket. Talk to me, Mose kicked the bucket, Mose kicked the bucket. Oh. Through a crack, saw an old man lying flat on his back. Old Man Mose was dead or asleep, I really didn't know. After peeping through that crack, ain't gonna do that no more. I found out, old man, I found out, old man, I found out, old man Mose is dead, I'm telling you I found out what it's all about. I found out, old man Mose is dead, yes. Mose kicked the bucket, Mose kicked the bucket, Mose kicked the bucket.
In 1959, May appeared in the Harry Belafonte film Odds Against Tomorrow as a club singer, very like May Barnes. We played the clip at MGS one time, and she featured in a documentary, Wild Women Don't Have the Blues, in 1987. May died in New York in 1996, aged either 89 or 104. This is Here Comes the Captain.
Horse, but I ain't got nobody, and nobody's got me.
Sorry, slight mistiming. Here is Here Comes the Captain.
Here comes the captain and his men, brave little soldiers under 10, dishpan, broomsticks all in view. Here comes the captain and his crew. See that commander, how he struts, followed by his neighbors barking mutts. What a commotion, biff, boom, bang. Here comes the captain and his gang. First in line is Private Brown. See his little panties falling down. Tramp, tramp, tramp as they go along. Tramp, tramp. Something's wrong. Here comes the captain home again, followed by his hungry men. The meals are served, prayers are said. There goes the captain off to bed. Here comes the captain and his men, brave little soldiers under 10, dishpan, broomsticks all in view. Here comes the captain and his crew. See that commander, how he struts, followed by his neighbors barking mutts. What a commotion, biff, boom, bang. Here comes the captain and his gang. First in line is Private Brown. Come in here, boy, and put up your pants, you little rascal, you. Tram, as they go along. Look out, boy. Something's wrong. Here comes the captain home again, followed by his hungry men. The meals are served, prayers are said. There goes the captain off to bed. Seafood is his favorite dish. Seafood is his favorite dish. Seafood is his favorite dish. There goes the captain off to bed. Boodle-doo went the captain. Boodle-doo went the captain. Boodle-doo went the captain. There goes the captain off to bed. Boodle-doo went the captain. Now I lay me down to sleep with a bag of peanuts at my feet. If I should die before I wake, you know I'd die with a tummy ache. There goes the captain off to bed. Good night.
Now, here's an interesting thing. The credits of New York cabaret music give Irving Berlin the credit for I Ain't Gonna Be No Topsy. That surprised me. The closest Irving Berlin came to social comment was the bit about Alexander playing a bugle call like you never heard before, so natural that you want to go to war, in Alexander's Ragtime Band. Whereas Topsy is an ironic comment about the typecasting of black women in the entertainment industry. It turns out he wasn't a secret progressive. During my research, I discovered that I Ain't Gonna Be No Topsy was registered for copyright by the songwriting team of Reginald Bean and Avon Long in 1942. If we want wit and social acuity and prescient comment about race and sexuality, we need to turn to Bean and Avon Long and not Irving Berlin. This is I Ain't Gonna Be No Topsy.
Can't you see the tint of Bergman in me? That Cornell approach to dramatic ecstasy? That Hepburn indecision of to be or ain't to be? I've suffered as Ophelia. Yes, honey, your mother has suffered. And yet, still, regardless, You ask me to be Topsy. How you sound? I ain't gonna be no Topsy. I've got style, I've got class, and yet you ask me to be Topsy. Now if I must play a part where I must use my heart, I'll play Eva.
Eva?
Yes, pretty, golden, curly-haired Eva. Why? Why should I be Topsy? In the first place, I'd have Simon Legree doing favors for me. Could Topsy? I've the highest ideal of that certain appeal called glamour. So why should I be Topsy? I ain't gonna be no Topsy. You know something?
What, May?
I've the feel for Camille, and I revel in O'Neill, not Topsy. Yes, it's a cinch and a pinch. I'd be happy or sad or civil. But in this case, I really would be evil. Why? Give me one good reason why I should be Topsy. Why, I can dance, I can chirp, and she can't decently burp, not Topsy. Yes, I could even put sex
Well,
in 4 saints and 3 acts, believe me. So tell me why.
I'll tell you why.
No, you won't. Why should I be Topsy? Nay, I ain't gonna be no Topsy. Why, every time I appear, only thing I can hear is be Topsy, be Topsy, be Topsy. Oh, honey, the people just don't realize I've got beautiful eyes and a dimple. Instead, all they ever want me to be is just plain simple. Oh, how simple can you get, honey? Bill,
Yes, May.
tell me, why should I be Topsy?
Well, I was talking to Tiger.
Never mind, don't tell me. I've no cause for alarm. And I've got no Uncle Tom like Topsy. That's your river, honey, not mine, but I'm determined to tell. Even if I catch hell or dropsy.
Keep speaking, Mother.
You hear me talking? I ain't gonna be no Topsy.
Brilliant. Leonard Feather, as avid a follower of New York cabaret music as Ahmet and Nishuhi, claimed that Barbara Carroll was the first girl ever to play bebop piano. Carroll played with her trio of guitarist Chuck Wayne and bassist Clyde Lombardi at Georgie Ald's Tin Pan Alley to such distinguished patrons as Charlie Parker, Paul Desmond, Stan Getz, Tony Bennett, and Billie Holiday. At the same time, she could be heard backing Sylvia Sims at the show spot, where Mabel Mercer sang in the byline room upstairs. Sylvia Sims physically resembled Mildred Bailey, which is to say she was short and round. Indeed, they hung out together, that's Mildred and Sylvia, and told people they were sisters. So 2 tunes back to back now. the Barbara Carroll Trio performing This Lady's in Love with You, and Sylvia Sims singing Down in the Depths on the 19th Floor, a Cole Porter song with a message that predates Brian Ferry, who I'm sure was a big fan of New York cabaret music. In every penthouse, a heartache. This lady's in love with you first.
Manhattan, I'm up a tree. The one I've most adored is bored with me. Manhattan, I'm awfully nice. Nice people dine with me, and sometimes twice. Yet the only one in the world I've ever been mad about talks of somebody else and walks out with a million neon rainbows blazing below me and a million noisy taxis raising a roar. Here I sit above the town in a Schiaparelli gown, down in the depths on the 90th floor, while the crowds at El Morocco punish the parquet, and at 21 the couples clamor for more. I'm uneasy and depressed in my regal eagle's nest down on the 90th floor, when the only one you wanted wants another. What's the good of swank or cash in the bank galore? Every man I know has a wife and a perfectly good love life. Yet here am I, facing tomorrow, alone with my sorrow, down in the depths on the 90th floor, when the only one you've wanted wants another. What's the good of swank or cash in the bank galore? Why, even my janitor's wife has a perfectly good love life. And here am I, facing tomorrow, alone with my sorrow, down in the depths on the 90th floor.
Correction. I said the time frame was the 30s in the introduction. That actually applies to the Calypso tracks. The New York Cabaret music is more 40s and 50s, of course. So the story is that Billy Taylor sat in on a jam session at Minton's Playhouse on his first night in New York City as a new arrival from Greenville, North Carolina. This was 1944. Tyro musicians had to wait for hours to get their chance, and Taylor's slot in the wee small hours coincided with the time when serious musicians wandered into Minton's after their own gigs had ended. Ben Webster walked over and told Taylor that he was looking for a pianist and to drop by the Three Deuces on Sunday. This is what is called starting at the top. Art Tatum was the other featured attraction on the bill at the Three Deuces, and Taylor found himself a gig and a mentor on the same night. So here is Billy Taylor in 1957 with Earl May on bass and Ed Thigpen on drums on You Make Me Feel So Young. Chris Connor is well represented on New York Cabaret Music, the box set. Born in Kansas City in 1927, Chris Connor moved to New York in 1949 and joined the Snowflakes, the singing group attached to the Claude Thornhill Orchestra. Then she replaced June Christie as the voice of the Stan Kenton Orchestra. Billboard announced her elevation with the headline, "New Chirp Scores." Her husky and expressive voice was a natural fit for torch songs, and she recorded prolifically for Atlantic between 1956 and 1962. Two Connor sides follow. They All Laughed by George and Ira Gershwin, and I Get a Kick Out of You by Cole Porter, perhaps the ultimate New York cabaret composer.
They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round. They all laughed when Edison recorded sound. They all laughed at Wilbur and his brother when they said that man could fly. They told Marconi Wallace was a phony. It's the same old cry. They laughed at me, wanting you. Said I was reaching for the moon. But oh, you came through. Now they'll have to change their tune. They all said we never could be happy. They laughed at us and how. But ho, 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 who's got the last laugh now? They all laughed at Rockefeller Center. Now they're fighting to get in. They all laughed at Whitney and his cotton gin. They all laughed at Fulton and his steamboat, Hershey and his chocolate bar. Ford and his Lizzie kept the laughers busy. That's how people are. They laughed at me, wanting you. Said it would be hello, goodbye. But oh, you came through. Now they're eating humble pie. They all said we'd never get together. Darling, let's take a bow. For ho, 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 who's got the last laugh? He, he. Let's at the past laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Who's got the last laugh now? I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol doesn't thrill me at all. So tell me, why should it be true that I get a kick out of you? Some get their kicks from cocaine. I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, it would bore me terrifically too. Yet I get a kick out of you. I get a kick every time I see you standing there before me. I get a kick, though it's clear to see you obviously don't adore me. I get no kick from a plane flying too high in the sky with some guy is my idea of nothing to do. Yet I get a kick out of you. Kick every time I see you standing there before me. I get a kick, though it's clear to see You obviously don't adore me. I get no kick from a plane. Flying too high in the sky with some guy is my nothing to do. Yet I get a kick, ooh, what a kick. I get a kick out of you.
The consummate New York cabaret singer Mabel Mercer was born in Burton-upon-Trent, England, in 1900. She came up through English vaudeville and Parisian clubs, making her first appearance in the USA in 1938. She settled in the States in 1941. With her residual English accent, ostentatiously trilled R's, and readiness to talk rather than sing properly, Mabel Mercer might be an acquired taste, but once acquired, it has staying power. There is a regal aura about Mabel that she shares with Jeannie Robertson, a singer from a very different tradition. Alex Wilder wrote that impalpable quality known as showmanship is, in her case, inapplicable. Rather, she exhibits graciousness, magnetism, profound calm, and most of all, complete authority. Let's go in at the deep end with just one of those things.
It was just one of those things, just one of those crazy flings, one of those bells that now and then rings, just one of those things. It was just one of those nights, just one of those fabulous flights, a trip to the moon on gossamer wings, one of those things. If we thought a bit of the end of it when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that our love affair was too hot not to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things. Crazy flings, one of those bells that now and then rings, one of those things. It was just one of those nights, just one of those fabulous flights, a trip to the moon on gossamer wings, one of those things. If we thought a bit of the end of it when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that our love affair was too hot not to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things.
Hugh Shannon was a Pied Piper lounge lizard who led the fashionable people from NYC to Antibes or Capri or Paris or back again. This is if we take him at his word. An entire chapter in this good book, Whitney Balliet, American Singers, is devoted to Shannon's table talk, and very illuminating it is too. Shannon says, "It is not braggadocio to say that I was becoming, indeed have become, a kind of movable feast, a catalyst. People make their summer and winter plans according to where I go. Everybody has to go someplace, and they know they will be safe where I am, that they will see their old friends, and that they will meet the right new people. Of course, it works both ways. I'm as happy to see them as they are to see me." Here is Hugh Shannon singing Hoagie Carmichael's most enigmatic song, Baltimore Oriole.
If you've never been to Baltimore, it's a place that's mighty gay. There's a lady bird I'll tell you about, how she went away, how one cold night she shook her wings and blithely flew away. Baltimore Oriole looked around at the mercury 40 below. No night for a lady to be dragging her feathers around in the snow. Leaving her mate, straight she flew to the Tangipahoe, where two-timing blackbird met the divine Miss O. I'd like to ruffle his plumage. Baltimore Oriole messed around with that big mouth till he cinched her wing. Forgiving is easy, it was a woman lie, now and then could happen thing. Send her back home, home ain't home without her warbling. Make a lonely man happy, Baltimore Oriole. Come down from that bough, fly to your daddy now, fly to your daddy now.
Hugh Shannon, self-accompanying on piano there. Now, the psychological climate of New York cabaret music is interesting. As we've seen, the Dowager Duchess in her penthouse apartment was as susceptible to heartbreak as any shopgirl. The exact level of the tongue in the cheek is difficult to gauge in songs about secret heartbreak among the glamorous set on the French Riviera of I suspect Billy Strayhorn was guying the genre with that line, "A week in Paris relieves the bite of it, except there's nothing facile or glib about lush life." So was song the emotional conduit for repressed types who could never express emotion? Hugh Shannon again. We have pacts, little laws. One never mentions foolish or bad behavior from the night before. If you get drunk and fall down, you fall down among friends. One never talks about money. No one knows if I am rich or poor, and no one ever will. One never talks about illness. A wealthy woman I know said when a calamity occurred to a mutual acquaintance on Capri, We have no time on Capri for unhappiness. We are here to have fun. All this is leading to a song about money. There was never a more exuberant celebration of romance without finance than I've Got $5, with music by Richard Rodgers and lyrics by Lawrence Hart, as performed by Bobby Short on vocals and piano.
I've got $5, 85 relations, 2 silk combinations, they belong to you. 4 coats and collars, Pa and Grandpa wore 'em, all the moths adore 'em, they belong to you. I've got a heart that must be spurtin', just be certain I'll be true. Take my $5, take my coats and collars, take my heart that hollers. Everything I've got belongs to you. Peggy Joyce had a business. All her husbands had gold, and Lillian Tashman was not kissed by an ashman. But now, somehow, wealth leaves me cold. Though you're poor as a chitchmouse, I'm so. I've got $5, I'm in good condition, and I've got ambition, and that belongs to you. 4 coats and collars, debts beyond endurance, on my life insurance, that belongs to you. I've got 2 lips that care for mating, therefore waiting will not do. Take my $5, take my coats and collars, take my heart that hollers. Everything I've got belongs to you.
Conte Condoli on trumpet there. So a pattern is beginning to emerge. The stars of New York cabaret music had to be bon vivant types or exotic if female, have a repertoire of smart, sophisticated songs, and be prepared to travel to glamorous places. The epitome of the breed was Jimmy Daniels, who, forced to abandon Paris by the gathering clouds of war, opened his own club in Harlem and later entertained at the Porroquet Room off 7th Avenue, where the New Yorker reported that he had an expatriates corner for people who think about the last time they saw Paris. Here he is with the anthem of the aging suave, Rouet.
How lovely to sit here in the shade, with none of the woes of man are made. I'm glad I'm not young anymore. The rivals that don't exist at all, a feeling you're only 2 feet tall. I'm glad I'm not young anymore. No more confusion, no morning after surprise, no self-delusion that when you're telling those lies, she isn't wise. And even if love comes through the door, the kind that goes on forevermore, forevermore is shorter than before. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm not young anymore. Poor boy, downhearted and depressed and in a spin. Poor boy, Oh, youth can really do a fella in. The tiny remark that tortures you, a fear that your friends won't like her too. I'm glad I'm not young anymore. The longing to end a stale affair until you find out she doesn't care. I'm glad I'm not young anymore. No more frustration, no star-crossed lover am I, no aggravation, just one reluctant reply. A lady, goodbye. The fountain of youth is dull as paint. Methuselah is my patron saint. I've never been so comfortable before. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm not young anymore. And you know that's a likely story.
Carmen McRae slipped into the world of New York cabaret with ease, except, of course, she was... Carmen made her debut record as Carmen Clark because she was married to drummer Kenny Clark at the time. Here, to tilt the balance a wee bit from east to west, is her tribute to San Francisco. I'm always drunk in San Francisco. It's a little song with a big arrangement by Benny Carter, recorded in 1967.
I'm always drunk in San Francisco. I always stay out of my mind. But if you've been to San Francisco, they say that things like this go on all the time. It never happens nowhere else. Maybe it's the air. Can't really seem to help myself, and what's more, I don't care. I'm always drunk in San Francisco. I'm never feeling any pain. But tell me, why does San Francisco, just like a lover's kiss, go straight to my brain? I guess it's just the mood I'm in that acts like alcohol, because I'm drunk in San Francisco. I get stoned in San Francisco. Yes, I'm drunk in San Francisco.
Mel Tormey, the Velvet Fog, composer, lyricist, actor, musical director, but most especially singer. He made his debut in a New York club at the Copacabana in 1948. Close associations with Buddy Rich, George Shearing, and Jerry Mulligan. His Gershwin medleys are the stuff of legend, and he won a mod fan base with Coming Home Baby. I was surprised that he was married to British film starlet Jeanette Scott at one point. But was there ever a more enchanted evocation of New York than autumn in New York? It seems a good sign-off for a genre as prone to romantic self-creation as New York cabaret music. So here is Mel Tormey and Autumn in New York.
It's time to end my lonely holiday and bid the country a hasty farewell. So on this gray and melancholy day, I'll move to a Manhattan hotel. I'll dispose of my rose-colored chattels and prepare for my share of adventures and battles here on the 27th floor, looking down on the city I hate and adore. Autumn in New York, why does it seem so inviting? Autumn in New York, it spells the thrill of first nighting. Glittering crowds and shimmering clouds in canyons of steel. They're making me feel I'm home. Autumn in New York, it brings the promise of new love. Autumn in New York is often mingled with pain. Lovers who bless the dark on benches in Central Park. It's autumn in New York. It's good to live it again.
Thanks, guys, and that's the end of the first part. Well, the golden age of Calypso dates from roughly 1927 to 1946, when the vernacular street music of colonial Trinidad turned into a worldwide phenomenon. And it's the time frame of the real Calypso. Different colour from the one Jason's got. A 1966 LP on Folkways. More recent collections covering the same territory include Where Was Butler on the Folklore Records, released in 1989. Calypsos from Trinidad, Politics, Intrigue and Violence in the 1930s, also on Folk Lyric, released in 1991. And Calypso, The Best of Trinidad, 1912-1952, a 3 CD set from 2004 on Cabaret, undoubtedly the last word on the subject. But most of what follows comes from the real Calypso, the album I Know Best. The Calypsonian inherited his duty to comment on topical events from his spiritual forebears, the griots of West Africa. It would be a mistake to view Calypsonians as typical of public opinion because A, their thought processes are so singular, and B, their songs tend to be loaded with irony. Take the abdication crisis of 1936. The narrative of a king torn between duty and love to the point of renouncing his crown was doubtless officially encouraged. But Lord Caressa in Edward VIII is so extravagantly sympathetic, you get the feeling he's actively mocking the Duke of Windsor, heaven forfend. Quote, "If I can't get a boat to set me free, I'll walk to Miss Simpson across the sea." The title, along with the sentiment, is dated Edward VII. It's always the Duke of Windsor and never Edward VIII. It's never Edward VIII. In current parlance, Edward VIII has been cancelled. Lord Caressa, Edward VIII.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
We know Edward is noble and great, but love caused him to abdicate.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Oh, what a sad disappointment was endured by the British government.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
On the 10th of December we heard a talk that he gave the throne to the Duke of York.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
I'm sorry my mother is going to grieve, but I cannot help, I'm bound to leave.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Paul Baldwin tried to break down his plan. He said, come what may, the American.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
We got the money, we got the talk and the fancy walk just to suit New York.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
And if I can't get a boat to set me free, well, I'll walk to Miss Simpson across the sea.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
Said my robes and my crown is not on my mind, but I cannot leave Miss Simpson behind.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the throne.
They could take my throne, they could take my crown, but leave me and Miss Simpson renowned.
It's love alone that caused King Edward to leave the it roll.
If you see Miss Simpson walk in the street, she could fall an angel with the body beats.
It's love, love alone that goes singing, but leave it roll.
Let the organ roll, let the church bell ring. Good luck to our second bachelor king.
It's love, love alone that goes singing, but leave it roll.
Now on the annals of history, he has left a record for intensity.
It's love, love alone that goes singing, but leave it roll.
Again, Sir Lancelot's exaggerated praise for J. Edgar Hoover, the unpleasant man who headed the FBI, might be taken at face value, or it might be construed as supreme drollery. It doesn't matter because everyone is getting a lot of vicarious pleasure at the cops and robbers stuff. Quote, kidnap a child 'cause to you he's just a brat. Rat-a-tat-tat, G-Man Hoover. Calypsonians knew that it was more effective to kid an authority figure than to hate him. This is G-Man Hoover by Gerald Clark and his Calypso Orchestra with a vocal by Sir Lancelot.
Of all the world's famous.
Oh, that isn't. No. That isn't G-Man Hoover. Where's G-Man Hoover then? Oh, bear with me. You got to hear G-Man Hoover. I'll summon it up from the playlist.
A verbo is for sharing all kinds of moments. From teeing off
now they ought to know. Stick you up there or they gang you over there. Hoover will bring them to the electric chair. A-B-C-D-E-F-G, G-Man, G-Man Hoover. Rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, G-Man Hoover. Rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, tat. Rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, G-Man Hoover. Stick up a bang, grab the door, get off to town. Get the cops come for your love to mow him down. Shave off your beard, change the color of your hair. Step out the door, there's Hoover waiting there. A-B-C-D-E-F-G, G-Man, G-Man Hoover. You were smart, cruel, had no heart, fool. You were bad, he was smoother. What the lad, G-Man Hoover. Rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, tat, rat-tat-tat, G-Man Hoover. nappy child, 'cause to you he's just a brat. His mama's wild, she's afraid you'll use your gat. Money's your aim, then you take it on the lam. Mud is your name, who always gets his man. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, He-Man, G-Man, Hoover. You can go now, don't dare go now. It's a frame, you're a loser to that game, G-Man Hoover. Rat-a-tat-tat, 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 rat-a-tat, G-Man Hoover.
The accompaniment resembles small band jazz overlaid with bubbling island beats, the syncopated rhythms, the pizzicato section in the strings, the punning use of a musical scale. They all deserve a doff of the hat to Gerald Clark, the arranger. I couldn't find much about Clark except he was a band leader and guitarist. The distinctive sound of Golden Age Calypso is his special contribution, and he and his pocket-sized orchestra were ubiquitous in the records I'm playing tonight. Sometimes they went under the name Gerald Clark and his Calypso Orchestra, and sometimes Gerald Clark and his Caribbean Serenaders, and sometimes Gerald Clark's Night Owls. But I'm coming to the revelation that they were all recorded in New York City. It's also true that Calypso springs from the same nexus of African and European influences as jazz, and was contemporaneous with swing jazz, a Lindy Hop away in the United States. But because Calypso is an art of celebration rather than emulation, and because each spot on the planet yields music with its own special flavor, something was created on the small Caribbean island. And note the Calypso habit of appropriating proper names as song titles. So far we've had Edward VIII and G-Man Hoover. The next selection, Sit Up Jason, is Bing Crosby by the Roaring Lion. Quote, Bing has a way of singing with his very heart and soul, which captivates the world.
Of all the world's famous singers that I have ever seen on the movie screen, of all the world's famous singers that I have ever seen on the movie screen, Lawrence Tibet and Nelson Eddy, Donald Novis and Morton Downey, Kenny Baker and Rudy Valley, but the crooning prodigy is Bing Crosby. Bing has a way of singing with his very heart and soul, which captivates the world. His millions of listeners never fail to rejoice at his golden voice. They love to hear his la-da-dee-la, so sweetly and with such harmony, thrilling the world with his melody. Mention must be made of Bing's romantic life, centered on his wife. As lovely as the soft sylphs of poetic dreams, her smile is like the moonbeam, a former star. We know she can sing, but now her voice she has reserved for her sons and Bing. So happy must be Bing Crosby, that he has married a beauty like Dixie Lee. I wonder if you heard him singing the song. May I be the only one to say I? And yet I wonder if you heard again. Every time it rains, pennies from heaven. But love thy neighbor was the most thrilling song. And get along, little doggy, get along so sweetly and with such harmony, thrilling the world with his melody. Bing has a most interesting personality, beloved universally. He has two pet race horses, double trouble, and Ligarotti pipe smoking is his hobby. He has a queer eccentricity. He takes off his hat very infrequently. So one and all, less unanimously, shout 3 cheers for his golden voice prodigy.
Yeah. So the sentiment seems genuine there, but there's some unexpected backpedaling in another song by Roaring Lion, a paean of praise to the Mills brothers called, inevitably, Four Mills Brothers. Quote, Bing Crosby made his name singing Love Thy Neighbor, but I still prefer to hear the Four Mills Brothers. Fickle, I call it. Note the hot clarinet break.
Among the singers on the movie screen, the Negroes are the best ever heard and seen. Among the singers on the movie screen, the Negroes are the best ever heard and seen. Morton Downey went to a singing school, but the Four Mills brothers, they're sweet and cool. And I ain't got nobody, no, and nobody care for me. Well, because he was interesting, starring in this picture we are not dressing. For instance, on the ship, the prince is near die when he crooned to her a song called May I, and on the beach made his name singing Love Thy Neighbors, but I still prefer to hear the Four Mills brothers in I ain't got nobody. Is Rudy Valley, but for voice control, visit Bing Crosby. For mystery pictures, we know Bella Lugosi, relaxation, Wheeler, Robert Woodley. Mae West, of course, is a peppy singer, but I still prefer to hear the Four Mills brothers in I ain't got no nobody, I know nobody care for me. Well, those of you who had seen the big broadcast, Cap Calloway, well, he was unsurpassed. For when his orchestra started syncopating, got so peppy that he bent and started shimmying. And when he bossed and, hey dear, oh, hallelujah, was accompanied by the Four Mills brothers in I ain't got no
Other jazz echoes include someone who might be a cousin of Sweet Georgia Brown, called Miss Bombilla Brown. as serenaded by Raymond Quevedo, who was better known as Attila the Hun. Dig the polyphony.
Miss Bambilla Brown, Miss Bambilla Brown, she is undoubtedly the nicest girl you've got in town. Her magnetic eyes hold you hypnotized, and when you fall for her, oh boy, you won't realize. And when she walks around and roll her hips, you want to sip the nectar from her ruby lips, no wonder all the boys in town shout, what a gal is Bambilla Brown. Miss Bambilla Brown, a West Indian gal. Oh, what a break when she makes you her pal, happy as can be. You'll know ecstasy, for she's a princess in the art of romanticity. And when you hold her knee, the coconut palms, you'll feel you've got a bit of heaven in your arms. For she's a queen of beauty in that tongue. I mean the gal, Miss Bambilla Brown.
We're getting to sexual politics, a more contentious area. Calypso was strictly a male preserve in the 30s and 40s. Calypso Rose is widely regarded as the first female calypso singer, but she was only born in 1940, so she wasn't around to counteract the laddishness of the golden age singers. Here, back to back, are a couple of calypsos about the battle between the sexes. Always Marry a Pretty Woman by Lord Beginner is less about finding fulfillment with a beautiful woman and more about the pitfalls of marrying an ugly one. Whereas Woman is not the weaker sex is not an affirmation so much as a warning. Attila the Hun, as you might guess from his name, is the exemplar of male insecurity. So, but first, always marry a pretty woman.
There's an argument going around the world all about the pretty and ugly girl. There's an argument going around the world all about the pretty and ugly girl. They say the pretty girl, she will make you shame because she have the look so she can't be blamed. But if you want troubles and misery, give an ugly woman matrimony. With an ugly woman you wouldn't have a friend, and your happy days bound to meet an end. If you and her are invited to a dance, You will be only taking a sporting chance, while happy couples are dancing wrong. She will be the laughing stock on the clown. But if you want troubles and misery, give an ugly woman matrimony. A pretty girl will be the pride of your heart. She wouldn't have to make up us to look smart. Pretty dresses will fill her heart with joy, and she bound to call you Papa Toy Loy. Give her what she need and then she wouldn't frown, and I'm sure that she wouldn't let you down. But if you want troubles and misery, give an ugly woman matrimony. If you're looking for a girlfriend to make you glad, don't take an ugly woman to make you sad. For at night when you're going to sleep, you will frown when you watch her beating her long gong. To make a little joke, you won't have the taste when you take a peep at her jaguar face. If you want troubles and misery, give an ugly woman matrimony.
If there is a thing that gets me vexed, it's to hear a woman called a weaker sex. If there is a thing that gets me vexed, it's to hear a woman called a weaker sex. The modern girl is developed physically. Some of them could even fight with Joe Louis. Don't mind the face me look innocent. They hold you in a clinch, you'll also ball for punishment. Some of them may look so submissive, but this attitude is deceptive. You would believe they cannot speak. They appear so soft, so meek and weak. But it's when you meet them in a gymnasium that you realize how they're vigorous and strong. And in the end, when you make them, you why they shock you and surprise you for the balance of your life. Now I'll call some names and listen, please. Tell me if any man could conquer these. Be Winnie, Fred and Elvira, Jenny, Bar, John, Fan, they fire. Well, if you meet up with these tyrants in battle, the best thing to do is to scuttle. For they had the police in dismay. These were the warriors of the dreaded Canboulay. The modern girl is full of surprises, never neglects exercises. If she challenges your boxing ability, don't think it's an easy victory. Don't let the aura of a sweet docility paralyze your judgment or evoke your sympathy. Don't think of her youth, her size, her height, or else you're bought for murder, for you're bound to lose the fight.
Joe Louis, mentioned in the previous song, faced up to Max Schmeling in two boxing matches in the 30s. Schmeling, who represented Nazi Germany, won the first match in 1936 by a knockout in round 12. The Afro-American Louis won the second bout in 1938 with a knockout in the first round. Attila the Hun and Roaring Lion got together to commemorate the occasion.
The fight between Schmeling and Joe Louis is an epic in boxing history. The fight between Schmeling and Joe Louis is an epic in boxing history. The critics said the Bomber lost the fight that night because he couldn't stop Maxie smashing right. Though with disappointment he is now faced, he has been defeated but not disgraced. Joe Louis, born in obscurity, adjudged by the whole of boxing progeny. In a few short years he had traveled far, a shining star in Fistiana, acclaimed by even the most critical as being spectacular and phenomenal. He achieved in 1 year, as is known by you, what it took the champions a lifetime to do.
As an admirer of Joe Louis, with what you are saying, I'm bound to agree. I do appreciate your song, but on the night of the fight, boy, something that was wrong. It wasn't the same Bomber that we saw smashing the Ancanera or the floor. I wouldn't say it was dope or conspiracy, but the whole thing looked extremely funny to me.
Now staging a comeback campaign, and none can deny he's making his name.
Whoever the Bomber meet, come what may, he mean to uppercut them to kill and slay.
Pay no attention to what you've been told.
He is bound to be the champion now of the world.
And though he has absorbed so much pain,
well, Schmeling wouldn't like to meet him again.
The wildest and also the most impenetrable of all these calypsos is Three Friends' Advice by Lord Executor. As far as I can make out, the singer is considering his options and thinking about becoming a Shango dancer or an Obeah man. Both figures are survivals from the old African religion. The Shango incorporated Santeria and Yoruba rhythms and chants into his dancing, while the Obeah man is a medicine man who harnesses supernatural power for his own ends. The Executor, a down-to-earth fellow, is overwhelmed and decides to learn the tango instead. Three Friends' Advice is about cultural disinheritance on one level. Lord Executor, a white Creole of Portuguese descent, was a first-generation Calypsonian who was still active in the Golden Age. Three Friends' Advice has lots of Shango magic and lots of Calypsonian knockabout hilarity.
According to condition, my friends and relations, they gave me their opinion. According to condition, my friends and relations, they gave me their opinion. One said, join the shouters band, another one said, be an Obeah man. But to buy your irons and no, I think I'm going to learn to dance the Shango. I was told by a certain friend who introduced me then to the show just then, and all the ceremonies that I went through. He sang, Moses, Moses, step off thy shoe. I fasted for 40 days singing him, and then they dumped me in the river, but I could not swim. Then to Viora I answered no, I think I'm going to learn to dance the tango. In 2 weeks' time then I got so fat you can imagine, friend, what was the cause of that? Stew, egg and fried macaroni that in the meeting the sisters would give to me. Khaki, sturdies, Palm Beach and white with the cockot and the leggings to lace up tight. Still to Viora I answered no, I think I'm going to learn to dance the tango. Soon after that I dropped a different plan and decided to be an old man. Around my neck I had a sharp play, and the beard that I had was like Calbaret. The shirt on the bosom was a motor car bag, and the coat on the back was a lily rag. Still to Viora I answered no, I think I'm going to learn to dance the tango. Now listen, friend, what I had in me room was a grinning skeleton with a face of gloom, a dancing peacock painted in red, with a jumping crapo without a head, 3 blind mice and a mackerel snake, and a big tar baby to walk and shake. Still to Viora I answered no, I think I'm going to learn to dance the tango.
Competition is one thing, but the Calypso wars extended the old concept from Gallic times of the flighting, which was rhyming, slanging matches where bards would outdo each other for extravagant, grotesque mockery. The summit meeting of Calypsonians, including Lord Executor, Lord Caressa, Attila the Hun, and Roaring Lion, gathered in 1937 with one aim: to pour scorn on the head of one of their number, Wilmuth Houdini. And Houdini's crime? He had the temerity to emigrate to the USA and become a great success. Stone Cold Dead in the Market, as recorded by Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Jordan, is a Houdini song. The resulting performance, War, is the Calypsonians' vengeance. Quote, "It's all propaganda, deceit and pretense. He hasn't got the shadow of intelligence." But here's the thing. All the records from Calypso's golden age with Gerald Clark as band leader were recorded in New York for the Decca label. The trips began in 1934 with the Roaring Lion and Attila the Hun, and Lord Caressa and Lord Executor followed. Lord Executor recorded 15 sides, counting War, on that 1937 trip. So here is Lord Executor, Lord Caressa, Attila the Hun, and Roaring Lion, and the track is War.
At last the hour of vengeance is at hand. I am in the land. At last the hour of vengeance is at hand. I am in the land.
The Lord executor's word of command, with my glittering sword in hand, tell Houdini, this is the hour of destiny in this colony. Those who boast that Houdini can sing, in my opinion, they know nothing, for it's all propaganda, deceit and pretense. He hasn't got the shadow of intelligence. The money that was spent on his plates and books has not improved his manners and looks. He has a good inclination, but poor in education in this colony. Many boast of their intelligence while the audience have reserved their incompetence. The rattling of their tongue with the music in time cannot make caresser feel that they are sublime. Knowledge have increased, understand me well. It was written in a book that others should tell. Tell them see graduation and then approbation as a Calypsonian. From the very first day that I was born, men like Houdini started to mourn. Monarchs wept and princes cried when they saw this new star up in the sky. Astronomers in my horoscope state I'd be proud, grand, illustrious and great, and they name me Attila, the terror, the brutal conqueror, master me minor. The earth is trembling and crumbling and heroes are falling and all, because a lion is roaring my tongue. It's like the blast of a gun when a frong. One actor want to bow down to the ground. Devastation, destruction, desolation and damnation, all these I'll inflict on insubordination, for the lion in his power is like the rock of Gibraltar.
Lord Executor didn't have a happy time in the USA, receiving an eye injury whilst chopping wood and consequently hospitalized on Christmas Day 1937. The experience inspired his song, How I Spent My Time at the Hospital. Lord Invader also didn't get on with New York City. And New York subway tells the story of a Calypsonian far from home and at the mercy of public transport.
When I first landed in the USA, listen how I got lost on the subway. When I first landed in the USA, listen how I got lost on the subway. I had a date with a chick and I went to Brooklyn, but I couldn't find my way back the following morning. I had money yet I had to roam, and still I couldn't get a cab to drop me back home. I met a cop and told him I'm a stranger, Lord Invader, a Calypso singer. I live in Harlem and came here yesterday, but now I want to go home, I can't find my way. He told me walk back 3 blocks and he further explain, go to the subway and take the uptown train. I got confused, I was in a heat, I couldn't find my way to 125th Street. I came out the subway and didn't know what to do, looking for someone to help me through. You talk about people as bad as crabs, it's the drivers who drive in the taxi cabs. Some passing you empty, and yet they won't stop. Some will say they have no gas, so they can't make the drop. I had money yet I had to roam, but still I couldn't get a cab to drop me back home. I console myself and started to walk. I said that happened to persons who born in New York. So I decided to leave the Jews alone. If they want to see me, they must come to my home. Because New York is so big, it takes a year and a day for anyone to get accustomed to the subway. I had money, yet I had to roam, and still I couldn't get a cab to drop me back home.
Calypso music is temperamentally cheerful, but sometimes amid of a high spirits, majestic foolery and drollery, something more sober comes through. Trinidad in the 30s was a polarized place. The collapse of the agricultural economy coincided with the discovery of oil, giving rise to huge economic disparity. Money is King by the Tiger reflects real desperation. The Tiger tells it like it is. If you haven't money, a dog is better than you.
If a man has money today, people do not care if he has cocoa beer. If a man has money today, people do not care if he has cocoa beer. He can commit murder and get off free and live in the governor's company. But if you are poor, people will tell you sure and a dog is better than you. If you have money to buy in a store, the boss will shake your hands at the door. Call 10 clerks to take down everything with key cloth, earring and diamond ring. He may send them to your house on a motorbike. You can pay the bills whenever you like. Not a soul will ask you a thing. They know very well that money is king. A man with a collar and tie and waistcoat, ask the Chinese man to trust him, Accra and float. Me not trust him, ball out the Chinese man and you better move him from me frying pan. You college man, me not know ABC. You want a macraggy and penny. You want start to jump in the man's belly and he cried out, a dog is better than me. A dog can walk about and take a bone, whole head, tail, bread, fish, tail and bone. If it's a good breed and not too wild, some people will take it and mine as a child. But when a hungry man goes out to beg, they will set a bulldog behind his leg. For the policeman may chalk him down too. You see where a dog is better than you. If you have money and things going nice, any woman would call you honey. And spite if you can't give her a dress, one new pair of shoes, she'll say she have no uses for you. When you try to caress her, she will tell you stop. I can't carry love in the Chinese shop. I'm sure most of you will agree that it's true. If you have money, dog is better than you.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt became a Calypso fan after attending a performance by Attila the Hun in New York City in 1934. The irrepressible Attila showed that the feeling was mutual with Roosevelt in Trinidad, a song that commemorated the US president's 1936 trip to Trinidad. It gained new currency several decades later when it was revived by Ry Cooder on his 1971 album, Into the Purple Valley.
When Roosevelt came to the land of the hummingbird, shouts of welcome were heard. When Roosevelt came to the land of the hummingbird, shouts of welcome were heard. His visit to their island is bound to be an epoch in local history, definitely marking a new era between Trinidad and America. Enthusiasm and jubilation was evinced by the entire population. Friendship for the USA was shown, and from the host of the stars and stripes were flown. Port of Spain threw open her gates to the President of the United States. In fact, everybody was glad to welcome Roosevelt to Trinidad. We are privileged to see the democratic president of the great republic with his charming and genial personality and his wonderful urbanity. We were struck by his modest style and was intrigued by the famous Roosevelt smile. No wonder everybody was glad at the great honor shown Trinidad. We understand that the president had just been on a visit to Brazil and the Argentine, with Mr. Cordell Hull in attendance, where they took part in a peace conference to stop war and atrocity and make the world safe for democracy, the greatest event of the century in the interest of suffering humanity.
As Calypso's resident Pollyanna, Attila the Hun got behind the governor's measures to beat the Depression, such as in 1938, encouraging a movement of organized labor. Attila is very wistful and idealistic on 5-year plan, and you hope it worked out well for him in Trinidad. In fact, as Dick Spottiswoode informs in the sleeve notes of Calypsos from Trinidad, Politics, Intrigue and Violence in the 1930s, Attila's predictions of public works and prosperity would come true in ways he couldn't foresee. In September 1939, England declared war on Germany, and collective bargaining procedures ensured that workers shared more equality in oil field and agricultural profits. Finally, when the United States established strategic bases on the island, the boom was on. So this is 5-year plan by Attila the Hun.
Happy days are coming back again. Join with me and sing the sweet refrain. The government has got a 5-year plan that will relieve the depression. No more starvation, emancipation is here. Public works are being started right away, so we have cause to be happy and gay. These gigantic things are going to do will find work for me, and you know more starvation, emancipation is here. A mammoth engineering job has been executed. I mean the harbor scheme that just been completed. Port of Spain will hold her place with ease. The premier city in the West Indies. No starvation, emancipation is here. Martin fruit change we all will see, a happy tidal wave of real prosperity. We'll be able to maintain our family in comfort and in luxury. No more starvation, emancipation is here.
The most recent song in this brief survey of Calypso comes from 1956. The Queen's Canary is a long way from the deference or pseudo-deference of Edward VIII, and it marks a new phase of evolution in Calypso, and possibly a new phase in the anti-colonial struggle. Passive resistance had turned into active resistance, but the wicked wit remained. The Queen's Canary is outrageous. The artist is the Mighty Sparrow, undoubtedly the most famous Calypso singer in the world.
Pass out the law to the people, keep the town as clean as a whistle. The governor pass out the law to the people, keep the town as clean as a whistle. No messing about in the place, keep your yard as clean as your face. Everyone know the penalty, untidiness is 6 months in custody. Believe me, up came Mr. Powell, who wanted to do something in his bowel. He went and stood down at the side of the road, and there he put down the load. But at the same time a police was coming, he didn't see what Powell was doing, but he kept on walking up slowly, seeing if the place is tidy. This time Powell started to tremble. Soon as he saw the constable, before the policeman knew what was wrong, Powell take off his hat and cover it down. Believe me, up came the officer and asked him what is the matter. He said the Queen's Canary fly away, but I have it covered down. The policeman fly in a rage and asked him, why don't you get a cage? He said, I couldn't leave the birdie, so I am afraid it would fly and go. If you would keep it covered for me, I'll get a cage and come back in a hurry. The foolish policeman accepted that, stooped down in the road and holding the hat. Believe me, up came the inspector and asked him, what is the matter? He said, the Queen's Canary fly away, but I have it covered down there. inspector was very, very greedy. So he rushed out the car in a hurry, because if a man catch the Queen's Canary, his reward supposed to be heavy. Well, without any delay, send the policeman 2 blocks away. Of all the dirty tricks upon the shelf, he wanted the reward money for himself. So he raised the hat very slowly, feeling for the Queen's Canary. But when he snatched, he holds something soft instead. He said, the nasty canary dead.
You can't follow that, can you? Thanks, guys.